So there have been a lot of times when I have straight up just destroyed my Google Ads campaigns. And in this video, I'm going to be taking you back to Storyland and going to be telling you 11 different ways I completely screwed up my Google Ads campaigns in the hopes that you don't go out in the future and repeat these same exact mistakes. So you need to watch this video until the end. Or I mean, you can watch those cat videos or dog videos that you want, but end up costing yourself a lot of money in the long run by doing the same things I did to completely annihilate my Google Ads campaigns. Mistake number one. This was one of the most common mistakes I constantly made over and over and over again. It was almost like I never really learned from my mistakes until just recently, and it is inserting keywords within my website, so within the titles, within the descriptions, for just the sake of having keywords. For example, if we go back to my legendary example of 3D printers, at this point I think I have some sort of this weird liking to 3D printers because every single video I'm always going back to 3D printers. But the main reason behind this is 3D printers are literally some of the most boring products. Of course, they do something really cool, but the product itself, it's not really that interesting. But regardless of whether it's interesting or not, it just sells. And in order for a product like this to sell, you need to follow the right technique. So for example, this video right here in terms of the 3D printer, toybox.com did a very good job of using the right kind of keywords both within their titles. So if we look at their titles, which by the way is completely different than what the title is on the product page, and they do it because they want to give this sort of a brand feeling on the website and have a different product title for shopping ads. But as you can see, the title itself is not too crazy. It's very straightforward. Toybox 3D printer, they have the brand name, they have the main keyword 3D printer, and then they tell you what it is. So it's a deluxe bundle, and they say 3D printer again for some reason. I don't really recommend you do that because it's called keyword repetition, but they do it nonetheless, and they have the specific colors that are provided with the 3D printer, etc. And if you look at all of these other brands, they're doing the same exact thing, but nowhere, at least within those products ranking in the top 1 or top 5, is there any kind of keyword that was just inserted just for the sake of insertion. And that's because you need to be following proper SEO techniques when it comes to the titles, when it comes to the descriptions, because Google's algorithm reads through the titles, it reads through the description. So when you have all of these funky keywords, for example, if you're selling a 3D printer and you have the keyword 2D printer or a small printer that is portable that's not a 3D printer for sale in the description or in the title, Google's algorithm will crawl through that, and unfortunately it's gonna mess up the thinking process behind Google's algorithm, meaning it will start ranking you for a 2D printer, it will start ranking you for portable printers, nothing that has to do with 3D printers. And I'm sure you don't really want to be ranking for those keywords, especially if you sell just a 3D printer. So this was really one of the biggest reasons why I kept on destroying my Google Ads campaigns. I kept on doing keyword research for just the sake of keyword research. I didn't pay too much attention, at least in the beginning, as to what keywords I was using, whether they were buying intent keywords or more keywords like you use in a blog post. So for example, using keywords like how does a 3D printer work versus 3D printer on its own. So that is one of the major ways I kind of ended up destroying my Google Ads campaigns, because again, it will drive to your website, and Google's algorithm and Google's campaign that you have running base your future audiences off of that data. So you got to make sure the initial audience that comes through, it's very accurate, it's not too off. But again, this will lead you to a low quality score if you do it over and over again like me. So don't make the same mistake I did. Kind of improve yourself, make sure you're doing keyword research with a very direct purpose or a very direct intention of finding certain kinds of keywords. But mistake number 2, which basically was a major way I ended up destroying my Google Ads campaigns, is making too many changes on the campaign level or on the store level on a very broad basis. So I always say within my other videos not to make changes too often, not going inside your campaigns every 2 days or every single day to kind of change something up. And a lot of e-commerce store owners, for whatever reason, end up doing this, and they just end up destroying their Google Ads campaign. I know, because I still talk to e-commerce store owners like these who come under my Google Ads agency, Your Marketing, asking for me to handle their Google Ads for them. Which, by the way, if you're doing $30,000 or more per month in revenue, you need a little bit of extra help scaling your e-commerce brand to the next level just with Google Ads. Go onto my website at yourmarketing.com and book a free call with me to see how we can make that happen. But they still consistently make changes way too often, and because of that, they end up completely wrecking their entire Google Ads campaign and as a whole their account. So I will only make changes every 7 to 14 days, not every day, not every 2 days, days, every 7 to 14 days. And this also means that you are not making changes on your website side or on the back end in terms of the product, because again, that's gonna completely end up destroying a lot of your results that you're getting with your campaigns. And I've seen this happen again way too often. For example, this brand right here that I have on my screen is actually a client's brand which I just recently took on. They are currently suspended on Google Ads. But if you kind of look at all of the changes, they were making changes way too often. March 25th, a change was made. March 26th, again, another change was made. And then they would wait a while, and then June 9th, they would make a change. June 10th of 2022, they made a change again. June 11th. So it was going way overboard. That's why they were not getting the results. And as a result, they were not able to scale their e-commerce brand to where they wanted to scale. So again, regardless of whether it's on the campaign level or if it's on the store level on a broader view, don't make changes way too often. Even if you make a conversion optimization change on the website, wait about 7 to 14 days, no except. But mistake number 3, which was one of the major reasons I ended up destroying my Google Ads campaign, was just focusing way too much on competitors. So a normal e-commerce store owner, here's what they do. This is what they kind of think like. So let's assume they're ranking last right now. So for example, let's assume we're Best Buy. So if I'm Best Buy, what I would do is I would type in 3D printer on Google literally every 2 hours or literally every day, because I just care about my brand so much. I care that it's ranking last and I don't like. So naturally, I will type it in as often as I can to see if my rankings are improving or not, or why these other people up here are consistently ranking up here. So what I will do is I will maybe click on each of these ads every single time to go on their websites, kind of look at exactly what they're doing and how they're doing it so different. And as you can see by now, I would probably be spending a lot of time kind of going through each of these websites, going through each of these landing pages, trying to mimic their overall funnel, trying to mimic their overall landing page experience and all of these things. And what this would do is it would take away my attention from my own landing pages, from my own funnels, from my own product. And I would spend very little time trying to do something that could make me actually stand out from the crowd, instead of me becoming another mimic version of competitor number 1 or competitor number 2 or number 3. And so what this actually leads to, and what I often did, was just having a analysis paralysis attack, where all I would do is just analyze every single competitor, spend my entire day just wasting my time looking at their titles, description, to at the end of the day figure out that I did no work on my own end and basically become a replica and a duplicate of these competitors. So you definitely don't want to be doing that, especially when you're trying to scale your brand. What I have always done is try to find ways to stand out of the crowd. So sure, look at their images, look at their pricing, try to get an overall broad view of what they're doing, and then go back into your own funnel and try to make it different. There is no reason for you to look into them on a deeper level, because again, you want to be different, you want to be unique. And this is how I found all of my success. This is why my own brands, my clients' brands, are the ROAS is always a 4x, 5x, 10x, even 20x. It's the norm here. That's because I always try to find ways to stand out. I'm not trying to be the next competitor number 1 or the next competitor number 2. So again, this is one reason why I ended up destroying my campaigns in the beginning, at least, just focusing on too much of my competitors. Let them focus on you, let them copy you. You come in and you invent the wheel where it's not too reinvented, but at the same time, it is a bit unique with its own spokes and with its own design, and it's just running on its own. Major way number 4, which I used to just crush my own campaigns in the first place, was controlling too much of the process. Now, I admit it, I'm not some saint. I have this bad habit of kind of micromanaging everything. I like to make sure that everything is running in proper order. That's just something I guess you can say that's wrong with me, and it really came to bite me in the back when I was running my own Google Ads campaigns. Because what I would try to do, especially with my smart shopping or even those standard shopping campaigns, is I would go in and I would try to basically control every single one thing that I could within the campaign. So this would mean a bid, this would mean the target ROAS that I set, this would mean the country I'm targeting. And don't get me wrong, a lot of these things you should be controlling, but you definitely don't want to have this attack where you're going in and you're just trying to control everything on a micro level. That's not a good way to grow a business. That's not a strategy you should be using, by the way. But I did unfortunately do that for way too long, and as a result, I ended up having way too many campaigns which were just destroyed, and which, by the way, were running properly in the beginning until I did this. So for example, if you are setting a bid up, or in this case you're setting a target ROAS up, set a target ROAS which that campaign has been achieving in the past 14 to 30 days, or if you don't have any data, just uncheck this box and let it run without any target ROAS percentage. That's really the ideal way to go in 2022, 2023, because this gives the campaign enough room to then go out to optimize to find you the audience you want, so that you can ultimately come in and scale. You don't want to be the reason why it's not able to scale, because if you set too much of a control on these campaigns, they will not be able to hit those metrics, those numbers, and as as a result, the campaign will fluctuate heavily and basically go towards the path where it's just going downhill and it's not getting the results that you want. Because remember, every single day that the target ROAS is not met or the bid that you set is not getting hit properly, the audience is not converting, Google thinks of your campaign as not performing. It's gonna lower the quality score and things over time will just go down this bad hill, which you don't want it to go down. So again, kind of remove your overall micromanagement from the campaign, kind of remove your control and just let it run on a deep level. Just let it optimize so that it can scale on its own. But mistake number 5 that I did was just making way too many decisions based on panic and just adjusting things based off of that solely and then destroying my campaigns as a result. I know it's a bit scary, I get it, because I've been there, especially during a rough time period like this, depending on when you're watching. We're basically in a recession right now and things are not looking too good for e-commerce. Let's just say that the e-commerce sales are fluctuating way too much. Costs are just going up for no reason. There's no returns coming based on the cost, and it's not ideal situation for 95% of the brands out. So it's very common in a time period like this to just panic, go crazy, start lowering all your budgets, bids, and make changes like I mentioned earlier every single day are way too often. So just control that side of you. Don't let it come out. I know it's gonna be very hard, but just suppress it inside you for just a little bit long. You just want to keep on following normal operating procedures. Make sure to optimize every 7 to 14 days, no matter how big of a change. So if you want to cut budgets by 30%, do that, but do it every 7 to 14 days. Just don't do it too often because it's gonna do you more harm than good. And trust me, I have way too much experience doing this. I've spent a couple $100,000 down the toilet just doing this often over and over again. So make sure not to panic too much. And even if you do, just control the instincts to just go in and just change things every single day. Just let it take care of itself over a 7 to 14 day period. But mistake number 6 that I did was not taking care of the things that the traffic is based on. So here's what I mean. A lot of times, and by the way, I still see this with e-commerce store owners where their conversion tracking is basically fully messed up. They don't have conversion tracking properly installed. If you go on their campaign side of things, their cost, it's all over the place. That's really the only thing that's accurate on their dashboard. Their clicks are wrong, their impressions are wrong, and their conversion values, I mean, it's just completely off. It's not nowhere close to where they want it to be because it's not accurate. And their conversion value, same thing. Their ROAS, of course, it's off. And as a result, they have these metrics that they're aiming towards and their campaigns are optimizing off of, which have 0% accuracy. And it's, to be honest with you, a very dangerous situation because your campaigns are optimizing for them. First of all, that means they're optimizing for wrong data. So if it's optimizing for wrong data, it's going to get you those wrong customers in the future, which you don't want to do as well. In addition, your Google Analytics, all of that is properly not optimized. So it's not getting you the right numbers, it's not getting you the right audience members, and everything is just, so you always want to do diligence of making sure everything is properly installed in the back end. There is no kind of stone that you have unturned, because if you do, especially when it comes to those things that drive you sales, that let you know how your sales dashboard is doing, how your sales in general are doing, that is going to be a very big mistake on your end. And I know it was for me because that is one reason why my campaign struggled so much in the beginning, why I had like a 1x ROAS, a 1.5x ROAS, and I just didn't know what was going wrong. Well, the smart guy I just spent more money on ads thinking that was going to do the trick, and of course that didn't, until I figured out that this was the mistake I was making. So again, make sure you do that correctly. But mistake number 7, which ended up crushing my campaigns, was leaving recommendations untouched. So no, this is not when I'm saying go to your recommendations and listen to everything Google is saying. I'm actually saying to do the opposite. So for example, if you go to the recommendation section on the left side, you will notice that the recommendation score is about 89%. So there is about 10% of improvement available within this campaign, within the account itself. So what this means is if there's 10% recommendations available, 10% growth available, my campaigns are not working at full potential. They're not working fully in as I would like them to. And Google notices this in the back end. Google's algorithm notices this. And as a result, this could potentially impact my quality score or my ad rank for my individual campaign. So what you want to do, and by the way, I just recently found out about this trick. I covered it in some of my other videos as well in my channel, which you can check out. But easy way to fix this, just go in and click dismiss all. That's all you really need to do, unless if you of course want to apply these recommendations. But just click dismiss all. You want to do this once a week. And as you can see now, right there, the recommendation score went up to 100, and it did a very small part in improving my overall metrics and my overall results I'm getting with Google Ads. So you definitely want to go in and make these changes as needed, because they can be the difference between you getting a lot of sales with Google and you barely just scraping by with Google. But this is what I often just started to do more and more nowadays, and it is making a big impact. But in addition, this brings me to the next kind of major way I destroyed my campaign, which is not knowing my numbers. I just can't believe e-commerce store owners still do this, by the way. And I talk to e-commerce store owners on a weekly basis. A lot of these, even those brands doing tens of millions of dollars a year, don't know their exact numbers. And as a result, their cash flow is all over the place. So for you guys out there, just remember, profit is king. But in order to get profit, in order to know if you're profitable in the first place, you got to know your numbers. So common numbers that you should know that I personally didn't in the beginning is cost per purchase. What should your cost per purchase be so that you are above break even, you're not losing money? Your ROAS, what is a profitable ROAS for you? Your break even ROAS, are you going to be breaking even at a 5x ROAS, or are you going to be breaking even at a 1x ROAS? You need to know that number so that people like me, if I were to take on your Google Ads campaigns and start running Google Ads, or you, if you are doing it, know what ROAS to achieve, because there's a very big difference in strategy when it comes to a 1x break even ROAS and a 5x break even ROAS. But in addition, your LCV, lifetime customer value. If you're a big brand, is your lifetime customer value $5,000, or is it $500, or is it $5? You need to know that so you know how much you can really spend on the cost per acquisition or the cost per sale. I didn't know this. It was very foreign to me because I was just a normal e-commerce store owner. I didn't really pay too much attention to it, and it came to bite me in the back way too many times. So make sure to not destroy your campaigns by knowing your numbers. Very simple, very straightforward. Let's move on to the 9th way that I destroyed my campaigns, and this was scaling during the times when I should have just focused on profitability, or during times when just the times weren't right. So for example, I had a lot of winning products which were seasonal, like air conditioners, heaters, etc., etc. So if I tried to sell an air conditioner during the winter time, it was just not gonna sell. It's just common sense, but I didn't know it. I kind of relied too much on the numbers because, hey, the numbers said there's 200,000 average monthly searches in December for AC. I mean, there's somebody out there kind of buried in snow who would still think it's just too hot and want an air conditioner, right? Wrong. That is what led to my downfall a lot of the times with many of my campaigns. I was wasting a lot of money on these unprofitable products where I should have just killed them during that time period. A winning product has its seasons. An air conditioner will be a winner in summer. It will be a loser in the winter time period. You just gotta admit that, and you just gotta move on based on that fact. But I didn't for way too long, wrecked my campaigns as a result. And in addition, not just seasonality, but also, for example, right now we might be in a recession. According to stats, we are in a recession. So what should you be scaling, or should you even be scaling anything at all? It's something you gotta decide and base your kind of strategy around that. But that's a big issue that I always faced during that time period, and I just destroyed my Google Ads campaigns as a result because of that. Let's move on to way number 10 that I destroyed my Google Ads campaigns, and that is segregating too many products into too many ad groups and assets. Now, I'm a big believer in having different campaigns for winning products, different campaigns for losing products, maybe even niche-based campaigns, but there's kind of like a fine line between doing it the right way and going overboard, doing it for every single product. So what I did during that time period was have campaigns where it was a high bid campaign, a low bid campaign, a campaign for a specific niche, subdivided niche campaign. So if I had, for example, the baby niche, I would have campaigns for baby pacifiers, and then baby cribs, baby costumes for Halloween, or baby diapers. And there were like these bunch of different kind of ad groups and segmented out campaigns which really had no function of their own, and Google was having a very difficult time trying to understand what kind of results to bring for each of those campaigns. As a result, my entire account started to tank, and I've seen this happen way too many times as well. You don't want to segregate to the level where it's just going too crazy and there's no kind of real strategy behind it. So you definitely want to do it to a certain level, but again, I did go overboard, and as a result, my sales and everything just kind of suffered heavily. So again, segregate based on watching my other videos. I do have strategies on this, but don't go overboard. Very important. And the final way I destroyed my Google Ads campaigns was just not starting a branded search campaign. Now, I know there's a lot of you that believe a branded search campaign is just a waste of money. You should not be running branded search campaigns because people are gonna search for your brand anyways, right? Well, that's where a lot of you go wrong, and that's where a lot of your competitors actually bid on your brand search terms, come in your customers right from under your, and you don't even notice it's happening, which is a very bad thing, by the way. So it's not gonna lose you a lot of money. It's just launch a branded search campaign, because I thought the same and I didn't launch a branded search campaign in the beginning. My results kind of tanked because I was losing a lot of customers to my competitors. You don't want that to happen, and you are fine just investing a few dollars here and there and just setting a very good, letting the campaign run in terms of the branded search campaign. But that was kind of the biggest ways I destroyed my Google Ads campaigns, and that kind of sums it up for my 11 different major ways I kind of crushed my Google Ads campaigns. Don't repeat these mistakes again. Go back in the video, watch it one more time, kind of take down notes, because I guarantee you it will help you and you scale your e-commerce brand to the next level. But if you need a little bit of extra help scaling your e-commerce brand, you're already doing $30,000 or more per month, go onto my website at yourmarketing.com and book a free call with me to see see how we can possibly work together to make that happen. But if you found any type of value in this video, destroy that like button, destroy that subscribe button, and I will see you in my next video.